So there's a new 2024 primary poll that I have to show you, and boy, is it something. Trump is dominating. This is from Politico and Morning Consult. Trump's at 53% in this poll. 53%. Mike Pence, 12%. Donald Trump Jr., 6%. Nikki Haley, 6%. Mitt Romney, 4%. Ted Cruz, 4%. Marco Rubio, 2%. Mike Pompeo, 2%. Hawley, 1%. Cotton, 1%. Tim Scott, 1%. It goes on there. Noam, 1%. Hogan, 1%. Rick Scott, 0%. So, listen, this is incredible. This is incredible. It's incredible for a number of reasons. I think the fear of the establishment Republicans and like the Mitch McConnell types is they're thinking, oh my God, if he runs again, he's going to get the nomination, but then there's no way he wins the general election. Now, I'm more agnostic on that point than they are. They think if he wins the nomination that the Republicans are screwed and they're totally going to lose. I think, I don't know what would happen in a general election. I do think he would win the nomination, but then I don't know what would happen in the general election. I think it's, again, I'm just agnostic on that point because it depends who the Democrats run. And, you know, I could easily see sort of a repeat of the Hillary Clinton election with Kamala Harris, you know, but it's also possible that the anti-Trump sentiment is still there and it's fervent enough where it would be the same thing as Biden, where it's like anything but Trump will do. So I don't know what would happen in a general election. What I do know is Donald Trump is straight Draxin them sklounced, son. And think about it. Right underneath Trump is Pence, 12%. And I would argue that it's his connection with Trump which puts him up there. Now I get it at the end. They were not getting along because Trump was pissed he didn't try to not certify the election or whatever. But still, when people think of Pence, they still think of Trump and Pence. So, you know, I don't think that was a permanent stain in people's minds where they're fractured and permanently fractured. So you have the Trump wing of the party is the top three. 53% for Trump, 12% for Pence, 6% for Trump Jr. By the way, Jesus fucking Christ. President Cocaine. So this is wild. Now, the other thing is, Trump just released a statement going after, not Mitt Romney, I'm sorry, going after Mitch McConnell. Because Mitch McConnell did the thing like, oh, he's guilty, you know, he egged on the insurrection, but I'm going to vote not guilty for impeachment. But Trump, that wasn't enough for Trump. Voting the way that he wanted him to was not enough. He slammed him for what he did when he egged on the insurrection. And in that letter, Trump said something along the lines of, we can never support the Republican Party like this. So it's not just Mitch McConnell's bad, Mitt Romney's bad. It wasn't that. It was like, look at how bad this Republican Party is. Why am I stressing this and highlighting it? Because that tells me he's very much leaning in the direction of, I'm going to start the Patriot Party, a new third party, and I'm going to try to win that way. Yummy in my tummy, Donald. By all means, go right ahead. Now, why is that insane? It's insane because the system is structurally rigged against third parties. So basically what you're doing is self-disenfranchising when he goes that route. In other words, if he ran as a Republican, he would go from having a very decent chance to win again. He'd definitely win the primary and then might win the general, right? He would go from a decent chance to win again to if he runs third party, there's no chance. There's no chance. You know, okay, let's say he takes... It's so heavily rigged against third parties that you probably won't even get on the ballot in a lot of places. But if he were to run as a third party person, it would just split the Republican vote, and he would get maybe 15%, which is a lot. You know, the record for a third party in the modern era is Ross Perot. He got like 9%, something like that. So Trump would get maybe 15%. You want to go nuts, say maybe 20%. That would just split the Republican vote. And that would make it so whoever the Democrat is, they would win. I mean, somebody who's got zero political talent and is a mess would win. Frickin' Bet on My Stork could win. Mayor Pete could win. Amy Klobuchar could win. In a situation where Trump starts a Patriot Party, he'll somehow get 10 to 20% of the vote. Even if people just have to write him in, he'll get 10 to 20%. Some establishment Republican will split it with Trump, and then there you go. Then no competition for the Democrats. But of course, that would have the downside of, You think the Democrats are bad now, they would get progressively worse and worse and worse, knowing that there's zero competition to them. So they would become, I mean, they already are basically moderate Republicans. They would become just Republicans. Like they would be even further right, I think. I think that that's how it would unfold, but 53%, he is crushing everybody. So the Republicans definitely have a dilemma here. They have a real dilemma. You know, they can't break free from Trump, but also he just proved himself to be a loser. You know, look at what happened in the election. Granted, there was some underperformance from the Democrats, but Trump lost. Trump lost. You know, Democrats won the Senate. There's one thing he was right about in his piece going after Mitch McConnell. He said, Mitch McConnell matched the Democrats' $2,000 with $600. And he said that's why you lost Georgia. Because you need it to be for the $2,000 checks. Big guy's kind of right on that one, but he must be licking his chops that the Democrats didn't deliver on the $2,000. That might be part of, if he runs again, that might be part of his argument. That they didn't deliver. They said they were going to give you $2,000. They didn't. I don't know, but the Trump era is both completely done, because he lost, and he's gone. He's not even on Twitter anymore. But it's also not, because he might just try to weasel his way back in. And see, the problem is, guys, the establishment of both parties are just a house of cards. Like, nobody actually really likes them. You know what I mean? Like, nobody really likes the establishment of both parties. They tolerate them. Yeah, okay. You know, some people are like, yeah, they're fine. But nobody really likes them. Trump, for all his flaws, has a group of people that really like him. And so, whenever you're dealing with somebody like that, you never know what could happen. So everything is totally up in the air, and these new numbers should scare you.